Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts, America's Still Beautiful podcast, a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts, America's Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today.
Alyssa Jo. Hello everybody. How's it going today? Happy long weekend. I hope you've had a wonderful and safe long weekend. I hope you got to kick back and relax or enjoy some fun activities and catching up with family and friends. I spent my weekend catching up with my family and friends, which was really awesome. So I am definitely in a good mood just because of that. So I hope you had an awesome long weekend as well. Happy Monday. Let's get right into today's episode. I have lots of fun stories to share with you, like I say every single time, but I have some stories about some big companies and the ways that they are paying it forward and just some amazing things that they are doing for the environment, for other people. I've got some animal stories, I've got some feel-good, heart-wrenching stories, just some fun, positive ones. So lots of good things are happening in today's episode, so I will stop rambling on and I will jump right into it. So, this is pretty cool. In Branson, Missouri, an old Days Inn hotel, which has been vacant for 8 years, has now kind of blossomed into a new life. And it's been given quite a noble purpose. And it's because a Los Angeles-based construction company purchased this property alongside with other shuttered hotels as well. And they are going to be fulfilling their mission to turn the failing commercial spaces into affordable housing. So the company envisions that these kinds of efficient fixes can help address the low-income housing shortage in the nation that is happening today. So they did this by breaking through certain walls, and then they were able to create studio and one-bedroom apartments, and they're going to be renting those out from anywhere between about $500 to $700, which is pretty affordable. So this is kind of a sweet spot in terms of income brackets, because this might be, where an individual might not make enough for normal housing, but might qualify for assistance. So this is kind of that sweet spot. These spaces have been upgraded with plenty of amenities. So founder of Revlik, his name is Richard Rubin, and he started doing these kinds of conversations in his native country of South Africa. And he believes that the price of the Missouri Days Inn units fall into the perfect price range for those who might not be poor enough to get subsidized housing. So, affordable too doesn't mean that it has to be, not cute still, not really awesome, or it doesn't, these little places that they have created are adorable. They're small, of course, they're little studio, one bedroom places, but it is so perfect for what it is. They did them really nicely. It's freshly painted walls. This is going to include your utilities. There's a rich assortment of amenities. There's a gym. There's a basketball court. There's on-site laundry. There's smart TVs. There's laminated wood floors. There's air conditioning. Like some really great things that are in this housing that they've created. And the need for affordable housing is just so urgent right now. And it's not just in the States, right? It's all over the world. And so, they really want to be trying to push these projects through to success without federal funding. And he basically revealed in a recent article that some of the critics of his model believe it isn't possible. He says, "We were told with this market that it couldn't be done. Everyone said you can't do it without low-income housing tax credits," which is completely incorrect. You absolutely can. So he did struggle to find some investors to fork over a large check to buy the old commercial spaces and then sell them as cheap as rental properties to higher risk renters. But there has been some, good people that wanted to invest in this, and now he's juggling about 10 properties. That's totaling about 2,000 units. And he hopes that number will be growing to 20,000 units in a few years. Now, my next story is about Hormel Foods, and they just announced last week that they're going to begin offering 2 years of free college tuition to all the children of their American employees beginning of this next year. So it's not based on achievement and test scores or a GPA. It's like this new program. It's basically the way to create equality in education admissions. It's what they want to do. And this company really hopes that many who take advantage of the offer will be the first generation college students in their families. So it's pretty awesome. So it's called Inspired Pathways. And this is the program. It's going to begin in the fall of 2021. And a spokesperson for Hormel Foods said that the company has 16,000 domestic employees, and the program is open to any dependent child of those workers. And the company has more than 30 plant and office locations in the U.S. It's primarily in the Midwest, but the kids can attend any community college of their choice as long as they graduate from high school and meet the school's entry requirements. So pretty cool. The CEO of the company, his name is Jim Snee, and he says, when you think about how a college education can change lives and start a ripple effect that will be felt for generations, that's the change maker Hormel Foods wants to be. He says, our goal is that it costs us a lot. We want as many people to go as possible. So the company isn't just investing money into the program, but they are making a large effort to make sure people know about it and encouraging supervisors to reach out to their employees about it and help guide them through the process if they are interested in it. So the Cornell Foundation has also offered a similar program in the past couple years that allowed students from Austin, Minnesota, where the company is headquartered, and they were able to attend Riverland Community College free of charge. So this is kind of a branch off from that. It's a little bit bigger, obviously. So this is just the expanded version. And that was the successful Austin Assurance Scholarship. And that was to benefit the high school graduates of Hormel employees across the country rather than just students who live locally. So Austin Public Schools Superintendent David Kranz said the foundation's program has been instrumental in getting students into college who might not have gone otherwise. And we know that for a fact. So if you want to find out some more information about this, you can go over to Hormel Foods, just the website. There's a bunch of information on that. They have social media pages. They have separate websites. They have lots of information that you can find on the internet. So if this, applies to you or you are interested, I highly, highly suggest going over and checking that stuff out because what they're doing is pretty amazing. Now, my next story I want to share with you is about this very determined mother who decided to create a natural cleanser to help her son's eczema and allergies. And she went on this mission to create this cleanser because she couldn't find a soap for her son's fragile skin. So she actually went to YouTube and she decided to make her own. So she learned how to basically create an allergen-free soap, and it's all because of YouTube tutorials. I swear, you can do anything on YouTube these days. So she said that she started to Google how to make soap, and then it just took her straight to YouTube. And after months of trial and error and watching endless amounts of tutorials, she finally perfected a recipe that worked for her son, Elliot. So she didn't just stop there, though. She really wanted to share her natural hypoallergenic recipe and help others who also might be struggling with eczema and other issues as well. So she created her own soap line, which is pretty incredible. It's called Keller Works. It's a nationally sold brand. She says, from what started as a small business in my backyard has now turned into a full skincare brand with customers based all over the country. We're able to provide jobs to our local communities in Mobile, all while making a positive impact and helping other families in need. So she's still exploring new soap recipes on YouTube and also providing millions of people with these all natural soaps that are very gentle on sensitive skin. So yeah, you can go to her website. It's called Keller Works. There's a whole skin line. If you do have sensitive skin or your children do or anyone that you know, she has been quite successful with the quality of these products for that sensitivity. So go check that out. All right, well, it is time for a little bit of a break, but don't go anywhere because when we get back, I got lots more feel-good stories to share with you, including how you can invite some zoo animals into your birthday parties. You're not going to want to miss it. Stay tuned. I will be right back.
The GSMC Life and Happiness podcast takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible. Download the GSMC Life and Happiness podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Welcome back to GSMC, America's Still Beautiful podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Alyssa Jo. Hello, we are back. Okay, I have lots more feel-good stories to share with you, so I will jump right back into it. So the next one I want to share with you is that Unilever has announced that they are going to be spending $1 billion to rid their cleaning products of fossil fuel footprints by 2030. So it's one of the world's leading manufacturers of cleaning and laundry products, if you didn't know what it was. And Unilever has now, they really want to accelerate the sustainability of its brands by sourcing 100% of the energy needed for its formulations with renewable or recycled carbon. So I'm sure you know a lot of these brands like Comfort, Sunsilk, Sunlight, Surf, Dove. There's so many. And, it may surprise you, but most cleaning and laundry products available today contain a lot of chemicals made from fossil fuel feedstocks, which is a non-renewable source of carbon. So Unilever's move to renewable or recycled sources for these chemicals is a deliberate shift away from the fossil fuel economy, and the evolving green focus on its global products is a critical step towards their pledge of net zero emissions from its products by 2039. So the chemicals used in the cleaning products make up the greatest proportion. So that's about 46% of the product's lifetime carbon footprints, which is more than is produced, for instance, from making plastic containers. So by transitioning away from fossil fuel derived chemicals in product formulations, the company says it's going to unlock novel ways of reducing carbon footprints elsewhere. So Unilever's president of home care, his name is Peter Tokov, and he said, as an industry, we must stop pumping carbon from under the ground when there is an ample carbon on and above the ground if we can learn to utilize it at a scale. Says we've seen unprecedented demand for our cleaning products in recent months, and we are incredibly proud to play our part, helping to keep people safe in the fight against COVID-19. But that should not be a reason for complacency. We cannot let ourselves become distracted from the environmental crisis that our world, our home, is facing. This is the home we share, and we have a responsibility to protect it. So it's pretty cool. So the British-Dutch company is actually setting aside $1 billion to finance biotechnology research, CO2 and waste utilization, and low-carbon chemistry, which will drive the transition away from fossil fuel-derived chemicals. So this investment will also be used to create biodegradable and water-efficient product formulations to halve the use of virgin plastics by 2025 and support the development of brand communications that make these technologies appealing to the consumers. So For instance, in Slovakia, Unilever is partnering with biotechnology firm Evonik Industries to develop the production of ramelopids. I'm probably not saying this right, but it's a renewable and biodegradable surfactant, which is already used in its sunlight dishwashing liquid in Chile and Vietnam. For another one, in southern India, Unilever is sourcing soda ash, which is an ingredient in laundry powders, made using a pioneering of CO2 capture technology. And the soda ash is actually made with the CO2 emissions from the energy used in the production process. So both technologies are hoped to be scaled significantly under the program. And so the sourcing of renewable carbon will be governed and informed by environmental impact assessments and work with Unilever's industry-leading sustainable sourcing programs to prevent unintended pressures on land use. So they also say that these significant commitments from Unilever, combined with strong sustainable sourcing, have real potential to make an important contribution as we transition to an economy that works with nature, not against it. So this company's announcements, they said that their existing clean future environmental commitments, and this is the 5 commitments that they have included. So number 1 is ensuring net zero carbon emissions from all its products from cradle to shelf by 2039. Number 2 is achieving a deforestation-free supply chain by 2023, having the GHG footprint of its products across the value chain by 2030. Number 3 is zero greenhouse gas emissions from its own operations by 2030. Number 4 is aiming to make its product formulations biodegradable by 2030. Number 5 is to halve its use of virgin plastic, help collect and process more plastic than it sells, ensure all of its plastic packaging is reusable, recyclable, or compostable by 2025, and use at least 25% recycled plastic in its packaging also by 2025. So those are the 5 commitments that they have promised. So stay tuned for more information about that. I'm sure there'll be more stories to share. Now, have you ever wanted to have some zoo animals a part of your birthday party? Well, now you can get a personalized video message from a sloth, a sea otter, or perhaps even a seal. And you can send a video to somebody, or they can pop in on video for your birthday, whatever it is. And this is all while helping raise funds for a Washington zoo. So basically it's $50 a pop, and it's Tacoma's Point Defiance Zoo and Aquarium, and they will create a personalized video message from the animal of your choice. You can have literally anything, like a seal, a penguin, a sloth, whatever you want. And given that the zoo and aquarium was closed up until mid-June because of the pandemic, all these personalized messages seem like a really great way, of course, to just raise funds for a zoo, for this zoo that's known for its animal hospital, its Asian forest sanctuary, and its conservation work on behalf of the endangered cloud leopards, coyotes, and red wolves. So basically, here's how these fun video messages work. The zookeepers introduce the animal with a personalized message for the person, and they add some fun educational facts in it. Sometimes the animal can chime in too, make their sounds, of course. And people will do birds. Birds will be singing away in these videos. I've actually seen a couple of them on the internet. They're pretty cool. And after it's filmed, an email link to the video is sent so that you can download it. Then you can save it and you can send it to your friend or whoever you want to cheer up, or if you just want to maybe do it for a birthday or an anniversary, you can do that. So conservation engagement curator, her name is Wendy Spalding, and she says, "We hope our animal shoutouts bring that special joy that only animals can bring, even at a distance." So all these animal lovers, you can contact the affiliated Northwest Trek Wildlife Park for videograms from mountain goats, bald eagles, slugs, porcupines, turkey vultures, barn owls, toads, and lots more. So if you feel like you know somebody who would love a personalized greeting, you can head over to their website and create a personalized greeting with any kind of zoo animal that you would like. I think this is such a cool, unique thing to do. So just go to Point Defiance Zoo and Aquarium. If you actually go to their Twitter page, they do have some videos on their Twitter page that will kind of show you what it's like, what you'd be getting. They're really fun. They're really kind of informative and cute. I just think it's a unique way to make someone feel good. So if you want to go do that, if you're an animal lover or you know someone that's an animal lover and they would love that, you're helping to raise these funds for this zoo, which of course has been seeing some hard times during the pandemic, like lots of other companies and organizations. So definitely head over there and check that out if you are interested. Now, it's time for another break, but do not go anywhere because when I get back, I have a story about the world's first happiness museum. Yes, what does a happiness museum entail? Well, I'm going to be going into that. It's bound to put a smile on your face. It's pretty cool. I'm also going to be talking about some seniors that are in a nursing home, and they have finally got the opportunity to talk to family for their first time in months they've been social distancing in their nursing home. So I'm going to share that story of how they got to do that, which is pretty amazing as well. So stay tuned. I will be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to GSMC, America's Still Beautiful podcast. Hello. We are on the last stretch of today's episode. Jump right in so I can share as many stories with you as I can in the time remaining. So I want to talk about the world's first happiness museum. It actually just opened in Copenhagen, and it is seriously bound to put a smile on your face. So happiness, just like art, is often quite subjective. But unlike art, happiness isn't something you'd expect to find hanging in a museum. What is a happiness museum? It just doesn't make sense to me, right? So now there is this entire museum that has been devoted to happiness. It just opened in July, and it's the Happiness Research Institute. And yes, there is such a thing as that, but is the driving force behind this new project. And according to their mission statement, the independent think tank's goal in exploring why some societies are happier than others is to inform decision makers of the causes and effects of human happiness, make subjective well-being part of public policy debate, and improve the overall quality of life for citizens across the world. So they say, I think people imagine that the Institute is like a magical place, a room full of puppies or ice cream, but we are just 8 people sitting in front of computers looking at data. So they've received numerous public requests to visit their, less than magical offices, basically, and they call themselves the Happiness Crew, and they decided, if people truly wanted a place where they could gain a better understanding of what makes human happiness tick, then just why not give it to them? So that's what they did. So that's what this happiness museum is. It's not just pictures of puppies and ice creams. It is literally basically explaining happiness, which is pretty cool. They say that we thought, why don't we create a place where people can experience happiness from different perspectives and give them an exhibition where they can become a little bit wiser around some of the questions that we all try to solve. So with strict COVID-19 protocols in place, they did they did open this museum it was July 14th, I believe. So the museum maximum capacity at the moment is 50 people, and visitors are invited to explore happiness from a global perspective, and that includes historical insights on how the concept of happiness has evolved over the ages and the ways in which varying regional cultures define the term as well. So this museum houses a huge collection of donated artifacts that represent happiness to people from around the globe. So they say, we might be Danish or Mexican or American or Chinese, but we are first and foremost people. It's the same things that drive happiness no matter where we're from, and I hope that people will see that in this exhibition. So they say that it's quite safe to say that, this is basically you basically get a better understanding of happiness. It is bound to make you smile. I know it's not pictures of puppies and ice cream all over, but you just get like a deeper understanding of happiness and what makes people happy, universal, right? Like universally. So it's a pretty cool concept. If you ever get the chance to go to Copenhagen, I highly suggest going to this museum. I've done some more research on it, just going to their website and stuff. It looks pretty cool, pretty interesting. I know if I ever had a chance to go there, I definitely would take it. Now, my next story I want to share with you is about the Dreamweaver Foundation, because they have provided 300 free Facebook portals to seniors in nursing care homes in Nebraska and Iowa. And the reactions from these seniors is just heart-wrenching. So they've been social distancing to stay healthy during the pandemic. And now, they really need that much needed companionship. So now it's this ultra loud, easy to use devices, and it can connect them directly to their loved ones. So most seniors who received a portal were connected to loved ones with a clear picture and sound for the first time in months, since the pandemic began. So pretty cool. It's a 8-year-old non-profit organization, and it usually grants wishes to seniors. Like hot air balloon rides or race car driving, but that, of course, that stopped when COVID-19 happened. So the Dreamweaver Foundation Executive Director, her name is Cherry Matsney. She says, we still wanted to serve seniors in a special way. Many families had been resorting to window visits or calls on smartphones, which can be both expensive and difficult for seniors to operate. So with this portal, the buttons are extremely big and it's very easy to touch and to use. Has a big subwoofer speaker in the back, so the sound is much better for someone who is hard of hearing. And the calls can be made seamlessly to and from smartphones and tablets as well. So pretty cool. Jill Sauser Hamilton, she says, my grandma was a lucky recipient of a portal and I could Facebook chat with her. It was the first time I had seen her in months. I can't tell you how happy this gift has made her. Her daily video chats with her family give her something to look forward to. Residents are definitely missing their families in this area, so they set them up and add every family member possible to it. So since seniors began using them, Dreamweaver, the organization, has been overwhelmed with requests for much more. So they're actually launched a fundraising campaign to purchase more of these portals. So you can actually head over to dreamweaver.org and you can donate to get more of these portals for these seniors if you are interested in. There's some reaction videos and pictures floating on the internet of these seniors finally connecting with their loved ones, and it is so heart-wrenching. So if you feel like maybe tearing up a little bit, I suggest Googling that and finding those videos and pictures because they are super, super cute. Now, I got one more story that I wanted to share with you today, and it's a pretty cool one. Thanks to, of course, social media, there was a picture or a video, I believe. I think it was a little bit of both, but basically what happened was there was an image of 2 young girls using the free Wi-Fi in a Taco Bell parking lot to complete their schoolwork. And this all just went viral. So now there's been more than $130,000 has been raised for this family in California because of this photo and video that surfaced the internet, just went viral. So in the photo, you can see the 2 girls sitting on the sidewalk outside of the Taco Bell. This is in California, and they're working on laptops as an employee crouches down in front of them. And the faces of the girls, they look pretty obscured, but The elementary school district identified the students after the photo began to circulate and said immediately provided the family with a hotspot. So then the digital divide is, it's very real, and delays in receiving needed technology is a statewide concern right now, especially with a lot of schools having to be online. So yeah, the district, which actually just has under 8,500 students, is in full distance learning mode, right? So school officials have already distributed over 8,000 Chromebooks, 1,500 hotspots, and are now waiting for 2,500 additional hotspots to be delivered. So they started a fundraising campaign for the family after learning that the family was going to be evicted from their home. So the fundraiser since has now raised $130,000, and the family is working with an accountant to manage those funds. And they say, all children deserve a happy place to live, and because of their education, these little girls deserve a safe space to learn. So the school district clarified that it is not involved with any online fundraisers for this family, but there is the GoFundMe page that has been verified if you do want to donate to this family. But the image, which has been literally shared by several local officials, it highlights, the stark reality that many of the millions of children who are now going back to school virtually do not have access to the internet in their homes. So, they're saying that with this digital divide, it's as deep as it ever has been before, where 40% of all, a lot of students do not have internet access. So this generation, deserves better. They really want to try to make sure that every student is able to still have that proper education. So if you do want to head over, there is a GoFundMe page. I'm sure you can find this photo on the internet. The Taco Bell Wi-Fi girls doing schoolwork. Literally search that up. You'll find the GoFundMe page. You will find the picture, the video, some more information about them. So if you want to go help them out, there you have it. Well, thank you so much for listening to GSMC, America's Still Beautiful podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Alyssa Jo. I so appreciate you being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Do not forget to hit that subscribe button, like and follow us on social media, and leave a 5-star review. I cannot wait to share more positive, feel-good stories with you next time. You know it is the best part of my day. So stay safe, stay happy, and spread kindness every single chance that you get. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts, America's Still Beautiful podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of our shows. From the GSMC Podcast Network, from social media news to marketing news, and even weird news, the GSMC Podcast Network has you covered. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Golden State Media Concepts, America's Still Beautiful podcast.